Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, sorry, I got a little bit of a sore throat today. I think I got an air conditioning thing because it's kind of hot out and my air conditioning's on full blast and I think I caught a little tickle in my throat. But you know what? All that being said, you know where I wouldn't want to be today? I wouldn't want to be anywhere working around the mayor of Nice today, because he must be just fuming. So if you remember just a few days ago, the mayor of Nice boarded a police boat and headed out to the Voyageur of the Seas in Villefranche-sur-Mer and Nice area, and he was gonna enforce the restrictions that he has set down, which means in Nice, no cruise ships over 450 passengers, and in Villefranche, no cruise ships over 2,500. And he went out to the Voyageur of the Seas and demanded to board the ship and talk to the captain. Of course, it's illegal to board a ship that is like at sea without being given permission. Everybody on board has to be documented and passengers have to be registered, etc. They can't just let anybody on board. It has to be set up So he came out with a camera crew and demanded, pointing at the captain, "You have to pull up anchor right now and get out of here. You're not allowed to be here." That's him smiling for the camera. By the way, that's what he was doing. Well, it turns out that the courts don't agree with him. The courts have now blocked his ban on cruise ships, saying that he has actually no legal authority whatsoever to ban cruise ships. It's only the regent of the area who's in charge of the seafaring and stuff like that that's allowed to conduct things for coming in and out of by ocean. And he never made such a declaration, never even considered making such a declaration. Not only that, we now know that the Voyageur of the Seas had already applied to come in that day and been approved by the council. Oh, by the way, the mayor is on the council. So he already approved the ship coming in and then sets out and tells them to leave. But they said, no, mayor, first of all, your documentation is filled with illegalities. It restricts freedom of movement for cruise ship passengers. It goes against consumer and transit and economics, etc. of the area. He has nothing to do with this. And so, yeah, I would not want to be around the mayor today, because that whole stage thing that he did of boarding that ship just kind of makes him look a little bit foolish now, as the court has blocked it. I imagine it's going to continue on to the next courts, but the ruling of this judge made it pretty clear that he has no authority in this area, and it would mean a complete change to the government system there to allow a mayor to be able to do these sort of things in the port. We'll see what happens going forward. It's just, I found it pretty funny after that big stage show that he did for the media. Next, let's talk about the NCL Aqua. And if you're on the next sailing, I believe it's coming up on the 19th, you're going to be in for a little bit of a disappointment. The big show on board is Revolution, a celebration of Prince. And it's a big Broadway production. Unfortunately, one cast is leaving and another cast is coming on board, and they have to learn to work on the ship and do the theater movements and everything while on a ship and block everything out. So there will be no production show of Prince, of Revolution, on that sailing. That's very disappointing. Normally, what happens in these situations is there's an overlap where one cast comes in while the other cast is still there, and one cast does the show while the other is rehearsing and everything, and then they slowly swap out. You know, they'll come in and do one number, another number, and then finally take over. I guess somehow this time around it was blocked off where one cast is leaving and the other cast just came on and they're not prepared to do the show. So a little bit disappointing for people who are going to be on that show. I know I would be disappointed if I was on that sailing of the Aqua on the 19th, because big Broadway productions are one of the reasons you book NCL and Royal Caribbean, and it's disappointing when they're not there. Next, let's talk about Celebrity Cruise Line. And Celebrity Cruise Line is making a slight change to how you book your shore excursions and everything. Normally, when you book your shore excursions, you will get a ticket in your stateroom with the time and the date, etc., of when you're supposed to show up, where you're supposed to go. For instance, do you go down and wait in the theater for your excursion, or do you meet them out on the dock, etc., and the time, etc., you're supposed to be there? Well, they're doing away with the paper, and they are now going 100% on their app. This is okay if the app is working, you have the app on board, if you're comfortable using the cell phone apps. If you're not comfortable, I know many people out there that just don't like to use apps. They find them confusing, frustrating, not always working, have to reset them all the time. They are getting stronger and better every day. Every time there's a refresh and an update, you know, people are starting to know the apps now. The apps of the cruise lines and everything are getting better and better all the time. It's just that it's nice to have that paper documentation, you know, as a reminder. Now you have to search through your phone, and once again, people are now on their phone on vacation instead of enjoying the vacation, because they have to look up when that is. It could be a little frustrating for some people, especially if you're not used to using, you know, a cell phone for stuff like apps. I know a lot of people in their 70s and 80s just hate it when they can't get paper printouts of boarding passes, or, you know, their shore excursions, or the itinerary of what's happening on the ship. They just absolutely hate it. But it's the way of the future, folks. Eventually, everybody will know the phones, and that's what it is. So let me know, you guys, would you prefer a paper ticket, or do you like the idea of just going through things on the app? And what do you think about the mayor of Nice basically being told, yeah, what are you going on about? You don't have authority to do any of this stuff you were saying you were going to do. We'll see what happens. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.